Hey everybody, this video is dedicated to a chess endgame fundamental. Today we're going to learn about triangulation. And what better way to learn than solving a puzzle? Take a look at the position before you. It's a very typical endgame scenario. It's white's turn to play and win the game. So what would you play in this position? Unfortunately, in this position, way too many people are going to play the losing move. King to e3, going after the black pawn. The reason why this is the losing move is that black is going to play king to e5. And with that move, the enemy king is going to be able to infiltrate and tear up our pawns the next move. So, e3 is a no-go. We can't play pawn to b4 because black's going to capture, and we're not going to be able to stop both pawns from promoting. Now in this position, white's only choice is stepping back on the second file, but this allows black to play either d4 or f4. And start chipping away at our defense. Black moves the pawn to e3, check. We move to g2. Black captures. We move to f1. Black to f3. We move to e1. Black to e2. White to b4, and it's good game. Alright, so your first intentions were good. In order to win this endgame, we're going to have our king on e3. That is the key square in this position, but we got to arrive on that square without giving black the possibility of penetrating our defense with either d4 or f4. This is where triangulation is going to come into play. Now in theory, triangulation is a tactic used in chess to put one's opponent in a zugzwang. Triangulation is also called losing a tempo or losing a move. Basically, you play a waiting move to force black's king to be in a position that you want it to be in. And only after that, you play your desired move. Now in our example, white wants to arrive on e3, but as we saw, if he does that immediately, black is going to respond with king to e5 and the game is lost. Now, white does want to arrive on e3, but only after black is already on e5. This is the reason we make a waiting move like king to d2 or f2. Black then moves to e5, and only now can white safely move to e3. And because it's black's turn to play, his only legal move now is stepping back to d6, to which white is going to grab the pawn and have a winning position. Now, that was a really basic example, so let's take a look at one that's a little bit more complex. White wants to promote their pawn, but got stuck on the promoting square. So, the plan to win this is to make moves that are going to allow white to break free from that prison and promote the pawn, but it's way easier said than done. So the reason I chose this position is to show you that you can also do triangulation with another piece. In our example with the rook, here white would use the rook to create a safe path for the king. So it would start by checking black on h7. If black moves to d6, then white is free to move to c8, which is exactly what we wanted. But black is not going to allow that, so he's going to move to d8 instead. Again, we're going to check with the rook h8, black moves to d7. And can you find the winning move for white now? Let me know in the comments if you managed to find it, but if not, let me tell you, the winning move here is rook to h6, arriving in the exact same position. Now, it's black's turn to play, and all of his moves end in a loss. So if black wants to move the rook to the a file, and try and keep the king stuck, white is going to capture the pawn and start checking from behind. Black can move to e6, we move the king to c7. Black rook to c5, we move to b6, and white promotes next turn. If black would move the king to d8 instead of moving his rook, however, white is going to play rook to h7. And again, black has no good move. Rook to b4, we move to a7. Rook to a4, king to b6. Black is going to try this defense because of this little trick over here with rook to b4 check. Did you see black's plan now? In this position, if white would play king to c5, thinking it's a good move, attacking the enemy rook, because his pawn is covered by the rook, this is actually a massive blunder that would draw the game. Black moves rook to b3, we move our king to c6. Black rook to c3, we move to b5. Black to b3 check, we move to c4. Black rook to b1, and now this game is just going to continue like this with the white king chasing the black rook. But if white would go to c6 instead, he would secure the win. Rook to c4 check, king to d6. Black is not able to bring the rook to the b file because rook to h8 by white is checkmate. So he needs to keep checking. Black rook to d4, And now white can play c5 because the black rook can't get behind the pawn and stop promotion, and the inevitable checkmate. Alright, so maybe a lot of you already know this concept, but to people who are just starting out to play chess, triangulation is really a must-know tactic that's going to bring them a lot of victories. It's important to grasp this concept because, as we saw in the first example, our first instinct is always to advance. It's really not natural for us to step back, especially in the heat of the game. So, I hope you guys found these two puzzles interesting, entertaining, and most importantly, educational. Please, if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments section, and we'll see you next time.